The Messiah, the TV series. Those of you that haven't watched it, I'm going to review it. I'm going to give my thoughts on it. There may be some spoilers, but I don't really think they're spoilers, because to be honest, if you watch the trailer, the trailer already has this kind of information in. Like, you already watch this thinking, well, they already give you the impression that, is he really the Messiah? Is he, surely there's an explanation. So I don't think, really, in my perspective, that anything I discuss would ruin the entertainment value. I don't think so. That's my take on it, but I am going to review it. I'm going to share my thoughts, people. So here goes. So I feel, people, that the Messiah was epic. I absolutely loved it. Honestly, I thought it was amazing. I've seen all of it. I clocked it all. I binge watched it over this weekend. And I thought, you know what? I have to review this. Now, I would give the Messiah something like 9 out of 10. Honestly. There you go, people. 9 out of 10. I think it's amazing. And I'm going to explain why. I'm also going to explain that those people who didn't like it, what I think. So I think if you're watching this from the perspective, and I'll tell you, those of you that haven't watched it, I'm going to give you some guidelines on what to keep at the forefront of your mind whilst watching it, and you'll really enjoy it. Okay, so those people that are watching this because they think it's, I don't know, like a sci-fi, it's not a sci-fi. Okay, this is actually, the series is meant to be based in realism. It's actually meant to be like a real, so it's not like like wizards and this and that. It's not meant to be like that. Okay, so it's meant to be almost, it's not a documentary. I feel it's well made, but it's meant to be a drama. Okay, so keep that in mind. So people watching it thinking it's a sci-fi or action are going to hate it. They will probably rate it like 4 out of 10 because there's very little action in it, and it's not a sci-fi. Okay, so that goes out the window. Those that are watching it thinking, or maybe there's going to be some kind of very intricate, super complex plot. Even though I love the plot, but the plot is still exactly what the trailer tells you. There's nothing more to the plot. The plot is a man has arisen and people are following him. People claim he's the Messiah. There is that's the plot. I mean, there isn't really much more to say. So if you're thinking, I don't know, something, this is going to have, that's going to, the plot's going to diversify, it's going to become a new plot, and it's not. So in that case, maybe you might think, well, it was just okay, 5 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10, that's it. Right, those people watching it, Muslims, that think, there's all this drama that think this is about, right, sorry, I've just, right, those people that are watching it thinking that this is about the Dajjal, Al-Masih al-Dajjal. This has got nothing to do with the Dajjal, okay, the Antichrist. Though, I don't, it really disappoints me why Muslims always play the victim card. Religion being attacked, the Dajjal. It's nothing to do with the Dajjal, people. Nothing. I mean, first of all, I don't believe the Dajjal thing or the second coming of Jesus or the Messiah is true anyway. I believe that's an inherited concept from Christianity, that Muslims have the Messiah concept and from the Jewish traditions, and Jesus from Christianity, and the Antichrist. And I've got a detailed video explaining that. But even if you do believe in Jesus is going to come back and there's going to be a Messiah, and let's say you believe in all of these, this is not to do with, I suppose very faintly it's obviously to do with the Messiah, but it's nothing to do with the Dajjal, because the Dajjal in Islamic teachings, those who believe in the Dajjal to be a literal person, is that there's going to be this Antichrist who comes and does all this evil stuff, and he's going to claim to be God and people will worship him. and then Jesus will come and destroy him. This has got nothing to do with that, people. Nothing. This guy, so far in season 1, I don't know unless the writers change direction, but he's actually a good guy. He's not actually somebody who's the Antichrist. Okay, so this, you can calm down. So if you're watching the Messiah to learn Aqidah, so some Muslims who are watching this to touch up on their Islamic Aqidah, then this is an absolute, -2 out of 10. Because this has nothing to do with Islamic Aqidah, okay? So you need to calm yourselves. Tranquilo, tranquilo, okay? This is nothing, just shant ho jaiye. Now, I'm going to explain how to watch this. People, if you watch this with an anthropological perspective, a psychological perspective, and a philosophical perspective, you will love it. I feel that this is an absolute must for all religion analysts. Honestly, to me, the irony is I would actually say this series is a godsend. Being called the Messiah, I feel that it's an absolute godsend for religion analysts or people who've ever considered the philosophy of religion. So, people would ask the question, let me explain what I mean by that about the anthropological and the psychological, philosophical perspective whilst watching this. Consider these questions. Many people have asked this. You may have asked this yourself. There's nothing wrong with these questions. That people may have asked, what if a prophet was to appear in the 21st century? How would it be? What if a prophet was to appear in... by the way, he's not claiming to be a prophet, but I'm just saying, these questions, you would have asked these questions. I'm sure any person who's delved into the philosophy of religion would have asked these questions. That how would a prophet engage with modern nation states? How would a prophet, would he be embraced in the 21st century? How would miracles be received in the 21st century, where we have cameras everywhere, where we have people are much more critical, we have the internet, we have social media? How would miracles be received by people? Would they not be caught out? People, if you've ever asked the question that would people with today's mindset, when we say that, look, religion is kind of dead in the 21st century and people are so much more critical, would people believe if a religion arose in this day and age? With these questions in mind, you watch this, and what you do is this is not a sci-fi, remember. It's a drama, so they're not trying to do sci-fi, they're not trying to be sci-fi in it, they're trying to be real. So now, whilst you watch it, what you do is you shift perspective. So there's the you, who's obviously the objective you, and then there's the spectator you. So the spectator you is the one that, like, let's say you're watching Batman, Superman, you're thinking, oh my God, is Batman, Batman's gonna come, how is he gonna react, Batman? That spectator you is immersed in the movie. Obviously, the objective you knows this is just a movie, they've just enacted this. So you need to kind of transcend into the spectator you, which you quite easily will. So you're spectating, when you're getting into, the spectator you is the one that gets into the movie. That kind of, oh my God, I hope this happens, oh, don't turn around, the one that gets involved. That you. Then you kind of shift character or perspective into the recipients within the movie, within the series. How are they, obviously as characters, how would you respond if you were them? Like, And it is absolutely fascinating. Honestly, I think it is priceless. And I'm not just saying this stuff, because here is this person who arises from almost nowhere, yeah? and he's kind of very, he speaks kind of wisely, as I suppose the prophets of old would speak, almost not in riddles but enigmatically. Like he won't answer very direct questions, but he'll kind of answer them wisely. Like he'll say things like, if they say, "Oh, is this you? Is this person, for example, is this name you?" He'll be like, "I have been known by that name." He won't be like, "Yeah, that's my name." He answers very wisely, very kind of, when they'll ask him, "Why have you brought these people?" He'll say, "I haven't brought them. They've chosen to follow me." It's very enigmatic. And this guy is so charismatic, the person playing the Al-Masih, the Messiah in this. I totally loved how he played the character. He really, I thought he, suited, and he was a complete fit for that role. And yet at the same time, this character, he comes, he seems to disappear and reappear in places. He seems to kind of save lives. And then he kind of disappears and he reappears on a different side of the globe. And people are like, and the CIA are kind of after him because they're thinking, well, this is all BS. How has he done this? But some of the things you see, the whole series doesn't explain all the miracles, but it explains glimpses of some. Enough to tell you that there must be an explanation. Oh, it's amazing. Like, they're like, well, how did so like they will uncover that, oh, so for example, he appears, and I don't think this wrecks the series in any way because they explain it pretty much as soon as you're into it. Like he'll appear all of a sudden in America, and then they'll uncover, oh, there was a chartered private flight. And it's like, but they won't uncover the other things. So how does he, like, he seems to know so much about the people interrogating him. I mean, is this information that's given to him by an agency he's working for? Or is he just so sharp and perceptible that he can read people? Like when the CIA operative is quizzing him. But then later on, she's like, well, how did he, and he says to her about her personal health, that how she's suffering, but it will come to pass. Now, when she's like, well, how did he know these things? And then, or was it that she had this hospital band on, and he read that, but that was kind of hidden far back. But was it because he was so sharp and so perceptible? But he's so calm at the same time. And then, there's this concept of just being there in life. Like you just turn up. They say like 98% of life is just turning up. You just be there and things happen. And I think that was that Woody Allen that said that. But anyway, right. So the point is that him just turning up, and then how natural events transpire. Like let's say a flood, or the kind of fish coming out of the sea. Now, is this... They're almost biblical in description, yet they're kind of natural phenomenon, because floods do happen anyway. It's not that floods don't happen. And the fish kind of emerging, being cast out of the sea, this happens. But yet the coinciding of these events, it's amazing. How would you receive it as a person? So the spectator, you kind of wants him to be real. You're like, God! And then there's but they're trying to unearth these things, and you're trying to think, well, how does he do this? And how social media then plays a role in spreading, amplifying his message. There's a scene where the girl shares a picture of him, and the moment she shares it, it has 42,000 likes straight away. Like, within a second. And that is the power of social media. And it's like, wow, like, oh my God, like all these questions that, what if somebody tried to take a religion off in this day and age, or how would miracles be? And it's amazing. Honestly, I just love it. From that perspective, like human behavior, like wouldn't people believe in this? They would, wouldn't they? Like, be honest, they would believe in it. Do I believe that this person would be, not commit? Would he be performing these miracles by breaking the laws of nature? I don't think he would. I think that there would be a coinciding of natural and there would be an explanation, but we don't know what some of these explanations were. Just like with miracles in the Quran, just because we don't know some of the explanations, it doesn't mean there weren't any explanations. So I felt that it was amazing watching that, becoming intrigued, trying to figure out that, right, how is he doing this? Because it's not a sci-fi. You understand? It's not like a Superman flying kind of movie. So it's like, how does he do that? And, how does he walk on water? It's like, what? And then they're discussing, look, but other people have done this. And they're showing in the movie, the CIA are kind of, showing this and how magicians have done things like this. And I thought it was amazing if you watch it from that perspective of quizzing belief, how belief arises. And I think one of the key things you can extract from this that I took away from it is that the understanding that people believe because there is a want to believe. People actually, we have within us a wanting to believe, and it's like a vacuum that it's almost so intrinsic within us that we find ourselves wanting, like desperately wanting to believe. It's amazing, wow, because you find yourself as the spectator wanting to believe. Even though the objective knows that, oh, this is just, but you're thinking, oh God, like, what is he gonna do something? How is he gonna respond? Wow, I loved it. I would say, for people who, you see, now somebody says there's a sci-fi part because he brings people back to life, but does he? Or was it simply resuscitation of people who were actually alive? You see, like, this is it. Just because one person describes it, now, just because the boy, the witness says, oh my God, he brought them back to life, they were dead. But were they dead? You see, this is the question. Now, you're just assuming they were dead. This is why I'm saying it's so spectacular. Because it really, you have to view it from all, like, a scientific perspective, from an anthropological perspective, that how would humans and belief constructs, how do they arise? How do religions take off? How do people, is seeing believing? When they ask him, did you walk on water? And he says, what did you see? Oh my God. Oh, it's amazing. And see, when the other guy says to him, when they're sitting at a swimming pool, he says, go on, walk across this. Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? It's like, in the ancient, in the stories, in some of these literature books, there's a saying of one of the khulafa, the ancient kind of Abbasid caliphs. Some guy came to him and he says, I'm a prophet. Like, God. And he says, really, if you're a prophet, what's your miracle? And he says, I'll throw stones into water and they will disappear and evaporate. And he says, go on then. So he throws some stones into this little pond that's there, and they disappear. And the caliph says, hey, hang on a moment. He says, I'll give you some stones, you throw them. And so the man says, he says, but tell me, when Moses threw the stick to Pharaoh, in front of Pharaoh, Pharaoh didn't say, I'll give you a stick, you throw my stick. So the caliph just starts laughing. But the point is that, you see, that there must be an explanation, and this is what he says. He says that, he asks the people, when the guy says, he says, but they say, I saw you walk on water. Did you actually walk on water? And he says that, are you saying what you saw is a lie? Oh my God. I tell you, I loved it, man, because I thought, wow, that is so true. That is so amazing. That is perception. You know, like in Spanish, they say, ver para creer. You know, like that seeing is believing. The same thing. But is it, is the question. That, is it really? Because what about the art of illusion? I loved it. So from me, I saw a lot of people giving it a lot of, you know, Muslims giving it this super negative kind of review, saying, "Oh my God, I wasted my life. Oh, I wasted my life." I think, well, these guys have got poor taste, and they're either insecure. I saw some Muslim imams writing that, oh, we as Muslims believe in the Mahdi, the Dajjal is, sorry, the Dajjal is going to come first, or the Mahdi is going to come first, then the Dajjal is going to come, then Jesus is going to come, and now people watching this might actually think that when the Dajjal comes, that he's the Mahdi. Because they've watched the Messiah. You know, this is the infantilization of Muslims. Like they, like, Muslims. Some Muslim imams treat Muslims like they're properly retarded and handicapped. Like they've got the intelligence of a 3-year-old. Like, oh, now they're gonna think that, oh, everybody is like, oh. I mean, do you not think that people know what a TV series is a TV series? And it's not even a sci-fi, so just relax. And the guy's not even the Antichrist in it. He's not the Antichrist. I mean, unless you mean by the remote thing that every Messiah in Islam is a Dajjal, then from that far angle you're calling him a Dajjal. But otherwise, he's not the Dajjal, the Antichrist per se, you know, the kind of tyrant that will go around spreading his power. He's not that. So I think for religion analysts, for students of psychology, of people who want to study human behavior, who want to study how human societies are formed, how religion is formed, how power and influence takes place in society, people who are interested in the philosophical discussion of science meeting mythology, that how, you know, some things when we don't know the explanations to them and they seem to defy science, how do we come to terms with that? People who find these topics interesting will love this TV series. So if you keep that in mind and you decide to watch it, I'm pretty sure you will love it. But if you're not interested in these things, then maybe it's not for you. But that was my it's definitely, you know, got my vote. Okay, so all right, cool people, let's move on. Right. Every Scrouser has taken MS. Who's MS as their Messiah already? Oh, is that Muhammad Saleh or Salah? Sorry, or I don't know.